A few years ago, I watched a video about escaping the rat race. I don't remember much of the content or the title of the video that I watched, but there's this idea that I still remember, and that is to not get trapped in one job. That is because if the job disappears, or if your health fails, if life changes, then what would you have left? It was just an unconscious thought at the back of my head, but I don't want to get trapped in one job. When I worked in Korea, there was this workmate of ours who is an old man around 60 to 70 years old. And I remember looking at him and he was working hard, working so hard for his age. And sometimes even our co-workers were disrespecting him. No one is helping him when he is carrying heavy materials and covers and all that. And I remember thinking to myself, this guy should be retired. He should not be working at this age. But what is happening? And I don't know much of his story, bless him, but what I saw actually scared me. I thought to myself, I don't want to be working my ass off and spending my entire life working just to survive. That was the moment the rat race stopped being a concept to me and it turned into a possible future. So after that, I became extremely frugal and I saved up a lot of money so that I can avoid having to spend my life working dead end jobs. But at some point, I got enticed by this crypto investments, stocks, and whatever that I did not really understand. And I tried to dabble in them. And I actually lost money, which is quite funny because I was trying to escape the rat race or trying to avoid the rat race, but I got into another race that's filled with a lot of graphs and anxiety. I wasn't really building anything, and I was hoping that something else outside of me is going to save me. Saving money is good, but I was not really building anything yet. I was just trying to avoid drowning. And so when I got back to the Philippines, I decided to try building something. So I built out a small office with my friends, and the idea was simple. We were going to be video editors, find some clients, and then start pumping out videos. For a while, we were doing okay. We were not winning, but we were surviving. But at some point, things started going downwards. I was editing 2 videos a day, I was cooking for them, I was washing the dishes for them, and all I needed from them is to edit 1 video a day. It's not rocket science, just 1 video a day. And the client was paying us $8 to $10 per video. And we were making like $40 a day. And there were 5 of us. It was not great income, but it was enough for us to survive. But then we started missing our targets. The goal of editing 1 video a day was not really working. Some of them decided that it was a secondary objective, and they were using the computers mainly for gaming, which was very disappointing for me. At some point, I was even withdrawing money from my bank just for us to survive. Just 1 video a day, but that didn't happen. I realized I was not really building something. I was just funding everyone's laziness from my own bank account. So I called it quits. I learned that creating is not the same as dreaming of creating. And I realized that creating takes responsibility. So after that, I sold my computers and decided to try to find a job at a call center. And I was able to work there for a few months, but it didn't really work out because I had to take 2 rides just to go to my work and then 2 rides just to come back. And in the Philippines, when it's typhoon season, I will get wet going to work and I'll get wet coming back home, and that's not really working for me. I'm trading my health and my body for money. And I had to work night shift as well, so I decided not to pursue that. And later on, I got the opportunity to work as a virtual assistant for a real estate company. And honestly, that helped me out a lot, especially in my financial situation. And then I learned a lot of skills, I learned new things. I was able to work on my communications, and I was also exposed to business operations to figure out how businesses are structured. And I also learned about automations and AI, which is awesome. But now the night shift is really getting to my health, and I can see myself probably working maybe 5 to 7 more years. But 5 years seems very long until it just passes like that. And I don't hate my job. I actually like it, but I don't want one job to decide my entire future. So now I'm trying YouTube. Not because it is a perfect plan, not because it's guaranteed to make money, and definitely not because I think I'm special. My retirement plan is to make videos and hope that people of the internet will like it. If you put it that way, then my plan does seem very stupid and foolish. When you say it like that, it sounds irresponsible. But at least it's a plan. And a bad plan that I can improve on is better than not having a plan. Not having a plan is just waiting for life to happen to you. For me, YouTube is not just about making videos. It forces me to think, it forces me to communicate, it forces me to create. It is my attempt to become someone who produces value instead of someone who consumes. Most of us are trained to be consumers. We consume media, we consume content, we consume food. Everything around us is built on consumption. I'm not saying that consumption is evil. It is a fact of life, but if all we do is consume, then our lives will be turned into currency. And that's the transition that I'm trying to make. I want to move from being a consumer to becoming a creator. If all I do is consume, then the race owns me twice. First, it takes my time because I have to work, and then it takes my money because I have to consume. And that is a terrible deal. Then is YouTube a great escape plan? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'll make videos for months and years and nothing happens. Maybe I will look stupid. Maybe I'll be looking back to this video and laugh. But if I remember that old man in South Korea, I don't know how his life went. I don't know his life story. But I know what I felt when I saw him. Felt like I saw a warning. And warnings are only useful if you listen before it's too late.